Okay, so without wasting any time, we're going to jump straight into what is essentially a speed run or a TLDR of the Jedi Survivor story. Also, I'm editing this video right now and I've realized that I've said Talonor instead of Tanalorr quite a few times throughout this video. So can we please just make a small deal that no one gets onto me in the comments about this? Thank you. It's been 5 years since we left off in Jedi Fallen Order. Cal seems to have been captured by some CSF officers who plan to hand him in to the Senator on Coruscant. He wants Cal to tell him the locations of the remaining Jedi, but the whole thing was a setup. Cal turns the tables on the Senator in order to retrieve some military info. The job goes sideways and Cal ends up bumping into Bode and the team. They make it aboard the Senator's yacht, mind trick the hell out of him, and gain access to his terminal. Once again, things go sour. The Senator is smoked by the Ninth Sister, along with a couple of Cal's crew. Cal defeats the Ninth Sister, calls her her real name, and then chops off her head. The remaining members of the team then attempt to escape the planet. However, nothing ever goes quite to plan, and only Cal and Bode get out alive. By this point, the Mantis has taken its fair share of damage and Cal thinks Grease is the man to go to for repairs. We land on Kobo and bump into Rovis and the Bedlam Raiders. Cal smokes Rovis's right-hand man, which implores Rovis to leave without a fight. We meet Grease and have a little heart-to-heart, then go down into the smuggler's tunnel to find a gyro for the Mantis. But this is Star Wars and nothing ever goes to plan. Cal falls even deeper down into an old Jedi chamber, in which we meet a droid named Z. Cal uses his Force Echo to look into the past, and it's here we see Santari Khri in the High Republic era. We learn that Z is the holder of info about the Kobo Abyss and is planned to be memory wiped. Jumping back into the present, Cal frees a disheveled Z who tells him about Talonor and sends him to open the forest array. After a few mishaps and obstacles, we finally reach the location of where the key to Tanalorr should be. We find a very well preserved individual in a Bacta tank. Learn he is Dagon Gera. Learn he wants to build a temple to train Jedi on Talonor without interruption from the Empire. Khri and Gera are attacked, but Dagon's past self sees Cal in the future and calls to be released. Cal does just this. Dagon explains what happened on Talonor. It was invaded, but Dagon managed to hold them off until the Jedi Council gave the order to abandon the planet. This didn't sit too well with Dagon, and now Dagon holds a grudge. He corrupts his crystal and attacks Cal. Cal hits him with a skill issue, and Rovis turns up to pluck Dagon out and fly off. After regrouping on the Mantis, the crew's next step is to meet up with Seer on Jeddah. This is Star Wars, so things don't quite go to plan and the Mantis is caught up in a dust storm. We bump into Merrin and decide to wait out the storm. It is then that Cal tells Merrin about Talonor and his dilemma about leaving the fight behind. The next day, the weather is clear and we meet up with Cordova and Seer, who are trying to rebuild the Jedi archives in this secret hidden base. She explains the Hidden Path, which is essentially a massive group chat for remaining Jedis and Force sensitives. Cal breaks the news about Talonor and Dagon, and Cordova comes up with a plan to visit the lab on the moon of Kobo. We find the crossguard stance and the device, but it's been destroyed by Jedi. We are then sent to save Armias and the contact codes, which could put the Hidden Path at risk. Armias has a tough day at the office, Merrin and Cal lips, and then take some kind of Apex Legends-esque Wraith portals back to Seer. Here we are schooled with the information about the Abyss, and Dagon's success on making it through 200 years ago. Khri made a compass with this data, helped build a Jedi temple, which was then ultimately invaded by marauders. This was what made the Republic flee the planet and give the orders to destroy the compass. Dagon took a disliking to this idea and rebelled against them alongside Rovis. This means that there still could be a working compass that needs to be retrieved. Upon the re-arrival at Kobo, we find out that there has been an attack and Z has been abducted. Cal and Bode set out to retrieve her but get split up. Cal runs into Rovis, puts a non-effective hole in his chest and escapes. Cal manages to overhear Dagon and Rovis speaking a bit later and learns that Dagon is sending Rovis to the shattered moon to look for the compass, and a droid to go and open the forest array. Rovis tells Dagon that after this, his oath is fulfilled, and Dagon explains that he will reprogram Z to serve him. Upon freeing Z, Dagon shows up and we have a little scrap, which allows Dagon to escape once again. Alongside Z, Cal and the team jump into escape pods and fly back to Kobo so they can come up with a plan to find the third compass on the shattered moon. While carrying out this plan, Cal sees the past again, showing Khri fall out with Dagon and cut off his arm and put him in a Bacta tank. We confront Rovis, learn about his backstory and smoke him in a fight. This makes Rovis fess up about the location of the third compass being on Khri's observatory back on Kobo. It's revealed Dagon is already on the way and Cal must bust a gut to get there. On the fly back to Kobo, Cal explains his anxiety about falling to the dark side, but Merrin agrees to be by his side to stop this from happening. We get to the observatory and finally find Dagan again. Dagan asks Cal why he's even fighting him in the first place when the Empire should be the real enemy. He confesses his plan to train his team in the Force at the Jedi Temple in Tanalorr, which will allow them to overthrow the Empire and rule the galaxy himself. Dagan bests Cal in a fight, but Cal pulls a trick out of his sleeve. He uses a Force hallucination to trick Dagan and put his saber through his chest. Cal then tells Bode about the similarity in his idea to Dagan's, but the difference being that Cal wants to use the temple on Tanalorr to train the disciples of the Hidden Path, in order to overthrow the Empire. We take the compass back to Cordova so he can repair it, and he asks Cere to come to Tanalorr with him. She says yes. Bode slips off to record a bedtime story for his daughter, and Cal and Merrin share some alone time. In the morning, we rejoice over the fixed compass, but this is Star Wars and nothing ever goes to plan. The Empire have come knocking. Bode kills Cordova and runs off with the compass. We catch up to Bode and find out he's a Jedi that survived the Purge. Cal gets defeated and we switch our narrative to Cere's. We defend the archive and split up with Merrin so Cere can grab the contact codes from the burning archive. Cere gives BD the codes to run back to the Mantis with, and Cere confronts Darth Vader. Darth Vader clutches up in the fight and smokes Cere, escaping with a few scratches. Cal finds Cere, cries, then returns to the crew. He wonders why he couldn't sense Bode, but Grease cuts him off as none of this was on him. They cut the BS and locate Bode's ship in the Nova Garen system using a locator beacon. Upon arrival, it turns out that this is an Imperial base, connecting the dots and figuring out that Bode was working for this secret Empire police organization. Cal finds Denvik, the mastermind of Bode's plan. He confesses that Bode has led Cal here to destroy the base so that he can make an escape with his daughter. We head up to Bode's room, meet Kata, the daughter, and Bode. Bode explained he was being pursued by the Inquisitors and his wife gave him a path to escape. But then he made a deal with the Empire, agreeing to work with them as long as him and his daughter were protected. He wanted to use Tanalorr as his escape and didn't want Cal to use it for the hidden path. He escapes Cal, and Cal embraces the dark side to pursue him. He almost smokes Denvik, but Merrin is there to persuade him not to. They regroup at the Mantis and figure out that the only way left to get to Tanalorr is by aligning the arrays with the codes on Santari Kree's message, giving them a tunnel through the abyss. The group heads back to Kobo, aligns the arrays and leaves Z there to activate them once the Mantis is in position. Finally, after a shaky journey, they land on Tanalorr. Merrin and Cal pursue Bode, and talk about letting him surrender for the sake of his daughter. However, Bode decides it's best to kill Cal and Merrin to save his daughter. Cal offers to let Bode come and live with him on Tanalorr, which he does not accept and fights Cal. Cal bests Bode and asks him again to join him. Bode realizes that his daughter will be still in danger of falling into the hands of the Empire, and starts his last-ditch attempt. They both wield their gun, but Bode is out of luck. His gun is broken. Cal shoots him and they rescue Carter. Merrin talks to Carter about harnessing the pain by not letting it consume and take over. They create a burial for Cere and Bode. Cal promises to continue Cere's legacy and guide Carter through the darkness. They promise to transfer Tanalorr into their home, and Cal gives the compass to Carter. So that's it, Jedi Survivor. I'm not going to make a review of the game just yet, as I'm waiting to 100% it on my new Journey Plus. However, you can expect this review pretty soon as I'm glued to the screen with this game. However, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and leave a random emoji in the comments if you actually made it this far. But as always, this is not farewell. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.